Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the WHHI Daily News. Dr. Debi Lynes has joined us for her monthly edition of Mind Your Health.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. We're in March now.
I love it.
And our topic today is going to be pretty serious, loneliness.
Exactly.
And being, I guess, isolated from other people socially? So
well, I think loneliness, being lonely and being isolated are all really different. I think what you and I were talking about before we even started was, what does isolation mean and why do we even worry about it? Isolation is one of the biggest medical contributors to a lack of quality of life, which can really be a significant medical issue.
And shorten your life, perhaps.
Absolutely shorten your life. And we see it a lot with people as they age. Maybe they lose a spouse, maybe as their friends pass away. They feel more and more isolated, as though they have less and less connection. And you know, I think we talk about this a few times, but we're not wired to be happy, Robyn. No. We are wired for two things and two things only.
What?
We're wired for survival and we're wired for connection. And so if I'm not connected to my tribe or my people, I can be very, very isolated. And that's where the problem really comes. Interestingly enough, okay, you can not have a big family and not have a lot of support system, but a pet, an animal, or something to connect with is often a way to alleviate that feeling of isolation. Right. Even, we talk about all the bad stuff with social media, right? Even social media can be a wonderful way to prevent isolation because it does keep people feeling connected.
Even though it's virtual.
Exactly.
And you put your picture out and somebody says, "Hey, how are you doing?"
That's exactly
or,
right.
"I like this," or good to hear about your
That's exactly right.
recent event or whatever, what you're doing.
And think about FaceTime, all of the communication.
Yes.
Those are things that are wonderful ways to prevent this feeling of isolation. One of the biggest symptoms of depression is isolation, where folks who have true depression don't feel like getting out. They can't.
Once you kind of get into that mode of that loneliness or that isolation, it's probably tough to kind of, you get settled.
Yep.
And then like, oh, that's okay. I don't need to go meet that friend, or I really like just being by myself.
Correct.
I think that would be hard once you kind of get into that mood. But you have to like force yourself?
That's exactly what you do. You force yourself in a variety of different ways, because when you're depressed, you literally can't do it. People are like, why is he there all the time? Why doesn't he get out of bed? He can't.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where it really is important to have an accountability partner or someone who can say,
just checking on you.
Check in just for today, come in for 5 minutes. And it sounds easy to do, but it's really, really difficult. It's interesting because when you talk to 12 kids that are 12 to 17, oftentimes they feel very lonely and alone, even though they're with a big group of people.
Right.
And so that's sort of an interesting phenomenon too. You can be in a crowd walking down the hall of the middle school or the high school and feel totally alienated and alone.
And I think the message there is you never know when somebody's feeling that loneliness. They might kind of act like but
they're masking.
They're called masking.
Right?
Okay,
it's a great word, because
Right.
I think that's exactly right. We all have sort of our public face and public persona, but oftentimes it's tough to know what's inside. It really is.
I call it kind of the iceberg effect. 70% of anyone, what's going on with them is under the water.
Yep.
All you see is that top 30%. When I worked at the hospital up in Greenville, we would say people don't walk around with a name tag saying, "I just lost my child."
Correct.
My father is survived heart
Correct.
surgery. So just being aware of all, what's going on in that person's life.
To be honest with you, that's the essence of psychology, and what I do is looking underneath the tip of the iceberg to find out what's really going on. And that's, it's so important, and it can really save people's lives.
And how do you find out You just ask them questions.
I think you
the
ask
appropriate question.
You ask open-ended questions, and you hold space. You allow people to feel comfortable enough to just share.
Just talk and share. Thank you. Good update. Thank you.
It's good to see
job.
you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Again, Mind Your Health with Dr. Debi Lynes, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Thanks, Debi.